Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What is a drug, substance you'll never do again and why? Meth. Did it one time at a party and I completely understand how people get hooked. Everyone sees the end result, but doesn't realize people start doing it because it makes you feel amazing. Never again. I had the same experience. I kept thinking about how valuable the feeling was. How much I could accomplish with this. I missed a sleep cycle and then spent the next 3 days thinking about nothing but how great it made me feel. That shit changed my perception of addiction real fast. Never touched it again. I once heard someone say, if you ever take a drug or a drink and wonder, where have you been all my life? Single quote. Run away as fast as possible. Quote. Had this when I got my hands on a pack of tramadol. Had a few sweet evenings. When I woke up from the last session and the pack was empty. I thought, damn, what a shame. Where do I get more of those? Quote. It scared me. Haven't touched opioids since. This. I was offered meth once and was like, I'll try it once, why not? Ended up doing a 24-hour bender on the stuff. For a whole week after. I was craving it so bad. And planning in my head how I was gonna integrate it into my life while not going overboard with it. I eventually came to my senses, haven't touched it since. I was offered meth once and was like, I'll try it once, why not? Ended up doing a 24-hour bender on the stuff. For a whole week after. I was craving it so bad. And planning in my head how I was gonna integrate it into my life while not going overboard with it. I eventually came to my senses. Haven't touched it since. Congratulations on not selling your soul, KCH75. I mean that. Best choice you ever made. Ketamine. Spent an hour spilling my heart out to a woman I barely knew and it was her place so she couldn't just leave. Sorry Carly. Hope you're doing good. I shattered my shoulder in a mountain biking accident 9 years ago. They gave me ketamine to sedate me while they tried, unsuccessfully, to set my shoulder. My nephew was in the room at the time. And he said I was just looking at the hospital staff and didn't have any real reaction to what they were doing. Meanwhile, I'm experiencing my own personal hell because I thought I had died and was trapped in a solid white, featureless room that I was going to spend all of eternity in. And it was terrifying. They gave me ketamine in the because I would have let them put the IV in so they could get me into surgery to remove my appendix. And it was great. I went from straight up panic attack to, go ahead and remove all the organs I don't want. I don't think I need these. And then I listed off the organs I'd be okay with him removing. This is actually one I wouldn't have minded trying. But before I ever got a chance to saw someone in a K-hole at a festival and decided I'd never do it. Def not a good look in public, but K-holes can be quite mystical if you're in a safe environment. K-holes are indicative of too high a dose. Sure, it's some people's preference but yeah, keep that shit behind closed doors. That's not a good social use of ketamine. Microdosing can be akin to having 1 or 2 drinks except it goes away within about 45 to 60 minutes and there's no real hangover. The proper dosage, especially at first, looks like a very, very small amount. Best to have an experienced buddy with you, both to administer properly and also to talk about some deep stuff and laugh at your silliness. Oh, and don't swallow your drip. It leads to kidney and bladder issues. The healing potential of ketamine's dissociative ability, in small doses, is outstanding. You get to step outside of yourself enough to see your perspective minus some of your trauma and self-consciousness. I'm not going to say it's for everyone, but there is truly so much value in these experiences. It can also definitely be abused, fairly easily. Ketamine was great. Never got myself into a cold. It lifted me out of a depressive funk. I felt great. It's the only thing I've felt myself getting addicted to. And it just kind of made me stupid. Too carefree to get my shit together. You just became way too okay not progressing as a person. Edit. Only 2 things I've felt myself getting addicted to. Wavy K and a prescribed opioid. The opioid hit so fast, I just knew I had to make the decision to toss them or be addicted to them. The K was something I had really grown to like, which is what made it hard to quit it. Pretty sure I only quit that one because I went to jail and was too scared to fuck up after that. Meth. I just didn't like being high for that long and not being able to sleep. Then feeling like ass for 2 days. I accidentally smoked meth once. A friend of mine had a vape. I hit it and it tasted really weird. I asked why and he was like, oh, that's meth. Quote. It turned out to be a dry herb vaporizer like you use with weed and it had meth in it. I didn't even know he did meth. It was still early in his addiction and that's how I found out about it. 1 hit is all it took. It was fucking awful. It felt good for the first maybe 4 hours. I was more social, and generally feeling really good. Then, for the rest of that approximately 44 hours, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I threw up a bunch of times. I subconsciously clenched my jaw until it ached and then clenched it some more. The anxiety and stress was overwhelming. I felt like I had to move but at the same time moving was so much effort. I was so fucking exhausted by the end of it that I'd just lay there with my eyes closed despite not sleeping for hours at a time. The hours truly crawled by. It was easily the longest 2 days of my life. Meth is fucking awful. Truly a horrible experience that I never wish to repeat. I have no idea how people like that shit. And I never even got the horrifying hallucinations and delusions some people seem to get after being awake too long. The problem wasn't that you did meth, the problem was that you stopped doing meth. That first 4 hours, multiplied by 100, is what people are chasing. And the last 44 hours is what people are trying to avoid. Exactly. Who the fuck wants to go burr for 48 hours? And after a while people change for the worse. I do. Which is exactly why I'd never try meth.